Our neighbor started doing lawn care just now.
It's that mosquito Joe stuff.
How long is that going to take?
Till they're all dead.
What's the matter with our children being
He's
out?
spraying poison.
Hi, Justin.
Oh, hey, how are you?
I'm good. Welcome to Love Stuff.
Thanks, glad to be here.
Today we're talking about love.
Again?
Again.
Okay.
But we're talking about a new thing about love. Today we're going to be talking about how
Love keeps no record of wrongs.
wrongs.
I love how we said that together. That would be 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse number 5.
Number 5.
Right?
All right. So I feel like this truth that love keeps no record of wrongs.
Okay.
That if you can implement this, I think we can safely make the promise
Yeah, okay.
that you will fight so much less.
Yes, and?
And that when you fight, you won't fight for more than 20 minutes.
I think that's a big promise, but I feel like
we can deliver.
we can in almost every case actually deliver on that.
Yep. Because Justin and I have an all kinds of flawed marriage, but we don't fight much and we never fight long.
Ain't nobody got time to fight long?
No, we got stuff to do.
Yes. Here's what we discovered in our marriage. We discovered that when someone would commit an offense against the other person, hurt them, wrong them, offend them, there would often be an apology. It would go something like, I'm sorry.
I mean, sometimes it was real, sometimes it was just like, I don't want you to be angry at me anymore.
I'm sorry, you're mad. Often the response would be something like, don't
That's
worry
fine.
about it. Which was really code for, I acknowledge your apology
But
and
I
your
would
guilt.
like to keep nursing this thing.
I choose to hold on to my anger for an indefinite amount of time and punish you with my bad mood.
Yes. Also, I would like to keep this example of your wrongdoing in my backpack should I ever need to yank it out and provide it as an example of your pattern of offending me.
Thankfully, about 7 years into our marriage, we realized that's probably not healthy.
That's busted.
So reading this passage about how love keeps no record of wrongs and thinking about how we'd done a terrible job of that, we decided to make a couple of rules.
So this is how we keep no record of wrongs.
Yeah.
When one person says, I'm sorry, first of all, the person who says I'm sorry
Right.
can only say it if they truly mean it. They
does.
recognize the offense and they know they've done something to hurt the other person. So when you say I'm sorry, the other person has only one acceptable response. All they can say is, I forgive you. When you say I'm sorry, you are asking for the other person to forgive a debt. And the other person's only option, if they love you, is to forgive it. To keep no record of wrongs.
It's like, I'm holding this, you've done this to me, I'm holding it. You say, I'm sorry, and I take it and I let it go. And
Yeah.
I walk away from it and I don't keep it in my backpack
Yep.
anymore.
Now, we've been teaching this to people for years, and here are a few of the responses I get from people. Number 1, you cannot be real. Just some things that are too bad. I mean, people have just said to me, well, your husband must never have done anything really bad to you. That's not true. We've walked this path through some really big offenses. We really hurt one another in significant ways. We've found that honestly, this is the only way through that. This is what has allowed us to drop those things and to be able to walk into a future that's not saddled with all of the baggage from the stuff we've done to each other in the past. So other people will say to me, whoa, so I have to say that right away? Don't I get any time to be angry? We do sometimes let each other have time. Sometimes the apology comes right with the confession of wrong, and you're a little bit stunned.
Yeah, if you don't already know, if it's like, hey, so I've got something to tell you. I spent $600 on really nice soap. I'm sorry.
And I used it all and I can't take it back.
I used all the soap?
All the soap.
How dare you?
One luxurious bath.
I don't even get to take a bath with this $600 soap. Like, if that's the situation, then there's a sort of a moment of discovery where I then need to adjust and, kind of maybe have some questions. But the idea is that eventually we are working toward this sort of inevitable end goal of forgiveness.
Yeah. There are times when I think, I just need a minute. I need a minute. I need to be angry for a minute. And I'll like take 2 steps away from Justin and then walk right back and say, no, it's fine. I forgive you. Right? I just realized, why do I want to hold on to this for 5 more minutes? Why do I want to be angry? It's only hurting us. And I can drop this now if I want to. When we drop it, we really do feel better.
Much better. Yeah, you realize this stuff that you were carrying around that you at first felt kind of good. I think that's one of the reasons we don't forgive, is because it feels good to be angry. But we realize it only feels good for a little while at first, and only in a twisted way. But then also you realize as you carry that stuff around, the longer you carry it, the heavier it gets.
Yeah.
And it's like you put each one of those little rocks into your backpack and they all start fusing together. And so it's hard to like take one out. Now they're all just stuck together, and it's just a sort of a general sense of bitterness or resentment or anger that just goes with you everywhere and isn't even tied to any one thing in particular anymore.
Yeah.
And that can strangle a marriage.
Yeah. One way you can know if you're not doing a good job of this is to look at your arguments. When you argue, do you argue about the thing at hand, or do you argue about everything that has happened in the last 5 years?
Right.
Yeah.
If that's happening, then you know, oh, there's some things we haven't let go of. There is a record of wrongs here that is driving the ship.
And you might be like some of my friends who, when they argue, it's like they just pull out this Rolodex that's just full of every bad thing the other person has ever done. And they can just flip through and pull out a conversation from 12 years ago and quote it directly, because they are holding on to those wrongs. And sometimes we do it because it feels like ammunition.
Right.
Like, I know I'm going to be in a fight later, so I need to hold on to all of my, my bullets.
Yeah. Good night. Do you really want a relationship in which everybody is walking around armed to the teeth, ready for whatever fight is coming next with all of the record of previous wrongs? This is not love.
No.
That's just not how love behaves. The other thing that you can feel when we start talking about not keeping a record of wrongs and forgiving is you feel like, well, I don't want to be a doormat. I don't want to just let him off the hook. This mattered to me. I don't want to act like it's not a big deal. But the thing about forgiveness is, that's not what's happening at all. No. The words that are not allowed in our house in response to an apology are, it's no big deal. Forgiveness says, this is a debt. I choose to cancel it.
Yeah. Love keeps no record of wrongs. It doesn't say love keeps no record of minor offenses that you probably shouldn't have gotten angry about.
Right.
It's like, you will be wronged. You'll really be wronged. And your job is not to keep a record of it.
And when you choose to forgive, it's an act of power. It's not an act of powerlessness. Our Heavenly Father is a great demonstrator of this. And when God chooses to forgive us, it's not Him rolling over or Him acting like it wasn't a big deal. It's an act of grace from a place of strength that is a gift to the person who receives it.
So back to our promise that you will fight short and not fight a lot. Let's say Justin forgot to pick up the groceries. So I ordered them at H-E-B. They were ready at curbside pickup. Justin was supposed to get the groceries on his way home.
Okay.
He did not. This is an opportunity for a fight. You have greatly inconvenienced the family. How dare you? This moment where 2 titans meet, right? If we are both armed, here's what this moment looks like. You always do this. You never remember. Remember last week? You didn't remember then either. And so now Justin comes back and he says, you wouldn't have remembered either. Do you remember? Da-da-da-da-da. And now he's going down his list. Maybe he says, why didn't you have time to go to the grocery store? You always fill your day with all kinds of stupid stuff.
And then we get into, all of the reasons that she has why I don't think about and take care of the family, and it's always her job. And then I go into all of the evidence that I have that she doesn't appreciate the fact that I'm at work all day and I'm the one paying for the groceries, and just all kinds of weird, gross stuff that we're all just, lobbing grenades at each other, hoping that one blows the other person up.
But what if instead Justin walks through the door holding the groceries because I sent him back to go get them. And he says, I'm really sorry that I forgot to get the groceries. I know that's a big inconvenience to you, and I know that messed up our whole night in terms of the order of when the food would be done. And I look at him and I say, I forgive you. No bite.
And then it's dropped.
It's over. Homework. So, homework for this episode is just to practice forgiveness. When you get angry, take a moment, figure out what it is you feel like you're owed, tell your spouse, give your spouse an opportunity to say, I'm sorry.
And then you know what you have to do, people. You got to say those magic 3 words and mean them. I forgive you.
Yep.
And then drop it.
Hey, thanks for watching today. We are delighted to get the chance to talk to you about love.
If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and you can be notified when we drop another one of these down. We usually do it every 2 weeks, and we won't stop until it's done.
That's true. That's true. See y'all.
We still haven't gotten to 1 million subscribers yet.
No, we haven't.
But we are getting close.
So close.
We are getting close. We're about 6 zeros away.
Yeah.
From 1 million.
Yeah, so it's not that many.